Everyone said it was impossible. No man could carry another through an Ironman. But Dick Hoyt wasn't just any man. And Rick wasn't just any son. They weren't just racing for medals. They were racing for something much greater. Dignity, purpose, freedom. Rick Hoyt was born in 1962 with cerebral palsy after his umbilical cord wrapped around his neck at birth. Doctors told his parents, Dick and Judy Hoyt, that he would never walk, talk, or live a meaningful life. They advised institutionalization. But Dick refused. "He's my son," he said, "and he deserves a life worth living." The Hoyts taught Rick the alphabet. They fought to get him into public school. And eventually, through a special computer, Rick typed his first sentence. "Go Bruins!" A sports fan from the start. When Rick was 15, he asked his dad if they could join a 5K charity run for a paralyzed athlete. Dick had never been a runner, but he pushed Rick in a wheelchair the entire way. After the race, Rick typed, "Dad, when I'm running, I feel like I'm not disabled." That one sentence changed the course of their lives. They became Team Hoyt. Together, they completed over 1,000 races. From 5 kiloseconds to marathons, from duathlons to triathlons, even 6 Ironman competitions. Imagine this. Dick swimming 3.8 kilometers, pulling Rick in a boat. Then cycling 180 kilometers, with Rick seated in front of him. And finally running 42 kilometers while pushing his son in a custom-made racing chair. He did all of this well into his 60s. Dick wasn't an Olympic athlete. He was a father with a full-time job, aging joints, and a will of steel. But he trained daily, sometimes in the dark before sunrise, sometimes in the snow. Not for trophies, not for applause, but to give his son a taste of freedom. He once said, "Rick is the heartbeat, I'm just the arms and the legs." In 2013, a bronze statue of Team Hoyt was unveiled near the Boston Marathon's starting line. It shows Dick pushing Rick, frozen in time, forever in motion. Dick passed away in 2021, but their legacy lives on. Through every race they ran. Through every parent who chooses to fight. Through every person who refuses to accept limitations. This is more than a story of a father and a son. This is the story of what love can carry, of how far we can go when we go together. This is grit.